Imagine a world where time itself is your enemy, where every moment brings you closer to being devoured by your own father, where hope doesn't exist because the God who rules you has already eaten the future. That was almost our reality. Because if one goddess hadn't outsmarted a paranoid titan, Zeus would never have existed, and the world would be a very different, very dark place. If that sounds wild, hit that like button and let's explore this nightmare timeline together. Let me set the scene for you. Before Zeus, before the Olympians, the universe was ruled by titans, primordial beings of unimaginable power. And the king of them all? Kronos, the titan of time himself. He'd overthrown his own father Uranus in a brutal coup, and now he sat on the throne of the cosmos. But here's where things get dark. Kronos received a prophecy that one of his children would overthrow him, just like he'd overthrown his father. Can you imagine that? Being told that your own kid will destroy you? So what did Kronos do? Did he try to be a better father? Did he attempt to break the cycle? No. He did something far more horrifying. He ate his children, every single one. Hestia, Demeter, Hera, Hades, Poseidon, swallowed whole the moment they were born. Now you're probably thinking, but wait, how did Zeus escape? Well, that's where his mother, Rhea, comes in. After watching 5 of her children disappear down Kronos' throat, she'd had enough. When Zeus was born, she wrapped a stone in baby clothes and gave that to Kronos instead. He swallowed it without even checking. But here's the question that keeps me up at night. What if she hadn't done that? What if Rhea, broken and traumatized, had simply given up? Let's think about what the world would look like if Kronos had never been overthrown. First, understand what kind of ruler Kronos was. He wasn't benevolent. He wasn't fair. He was paranoid, controlling, and absolutely ruthless. The golden age under Kronos? That's propaganda. Sure, there was order, but it was the order of a prison. Humanity would exist, but only as pawns. The Titans would rule with absolute authority, and there would be no one to challenge them. No heroes, no demigods, no stories of mortals rising up against divine tyranny. Can you see it? A world where Prometheus never steals fire for humanity, because there's no Zeus to steal it from. A world where humans remain in perpetual darkness, cold and helpless, forever dependent on Titan mercy, which, let me tell you, was in very small supply. But wait, there's more. Without Zeus, there's no Athena, the goddess of wisdom and strategy, no Apollo bringing music and healing, no Artemis protecting the wild, no Dionysus giving humanity the gift of wine and celebration. The entire pantheon of gods that gave meaning, art, and culture to ancient Greek civilization, none of them would exist.
Now, many of you are probably wondering, would the Titans really be that bad? Let me tell you why the answer is absolutely yes. The Titans represented primordial forces, raw, untamed, and indifferent to human suffering. Kronos didn't just rule time, he devoured it. Under his reign, progress would be impossible. Change would be forbidden. Every day would be the same as the last because the god of time itself would ensure nothing ever evolved. Think about Oceanos, the titan of the sea. Not the friendly waves you surf on, but the crushing, drowning depths that swallow ships. Or Hyperion, the titan of light, who wouldn't illuminate the world out of kindness, but would burn it when he felt like it. These weren't gods you prayed to for help. These were forces you survived if you were lucky. And here's what really terrifies me about this alternate timeline. Without Zeus's rebellion, there would be no concept of justice. Zeus, for all his flaws, and trust me, he had many, established the idea that even gods could be held accountable. He created laws. He punished oath breakers. He wasn't perfect, but he tried to create order that wasn't based purely on fear. Kronos? His only law was power. His only justice was whatever kept him on the throne.
But here's where this really hits home. Without the Olympian rebellion, humanity would lose more than just divine protectors. We'd lose the very stories that taught us to question authority, to fight impossible odds, to believe that even the weakest can overcome the strongest with cleverness and courage. Think about it. No story of Perseus slaying Medusa, no tale of Odysseus outsmarting the Cyclops, no legend of Heracles completing impossible labors. These stories only exist because Zeus and the Olympians created a world where heroes could rise, where mortals could achieve greatness, where change was possible. Under Kronos, there are no heroes. There's only survival, and barely that. What would you do in that world? Would you accept eternal stagnation? Would you bow to a king who ate his own children out of paranoia?
Here's what fascinates me about this what-if scenario. It reveals something profound about why the Greeks told this story in the first place. The overthrow of Kronos wasn't just a cool myth. It was a statement about progress, about the necessity of change, about why each generation must challenge the previous one to move forward. Kronos represents the old way, tradition so rigid it consumes its own future. Zeus represents revolution, imperfect and messy, but necessary. The Greeks understood something crucial. A world that never changes is a world that's already dead. Do you see it? Every time we challenge outdated systems, every time we fight for progress despite those in power resisting, every time we choose growth over stagnation, we're reenacting Zeus's rebellion against Kronos. The ancient Greeks weren't just telling a story about gods fighting. They were asking a fundamental question. Is it better to have flawed leaders who allow change, or perfect order that prevents any future at all?
So, when you really think about it, Zeus's victory, despite all the chaos and drama it brought, gave humanity something invaluable: possibility. The Olympians were far from perfect. Zeus was unfaithful, Hera was vengeful, Ares was bloodthirsty, but they were dynamic. They changed, they grew, they made mistakes, and sometimes learned from them. And most importantly, they left room for humans to be heroes. They created a universe where free will mattered, where clever mortals could trick gods, where love could bridge the gap between divine and human. Would I want to live in Kronos' world of perfect, unchanging order, or Zeus's messy, chaotic, but ultimately hopeful universe? I think you know the answer. So here's my question for you. Would you rather live in a world of perfect order with no freedom, or chaotic freedom with all its risks? Drop your answer in the comments, smash that subscribe button, and share this with anyone who loves mythology, because the stories we tell about the past shape how we think about the future. And trust me, there are way more mind-bending myths where this came from.